Listen up, it's jazz.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Hot Chai Pod, a podcast where we spill all of that sizzling Bollywood tea. I'm your host, Jazz, and today, actually, it's quite a bonanza episode because, yes, I was gone for about a month. Summer ending, traveling, but we have to make time for what's important, which is Bollywood gossip. And what better way to come back than to the news of Katrina Kaif and Vicky Kaushal's pregnancy announcement, which was pretty big, breaking the internet, as they say. So actually, over the years, so many people have been doing like, Katrina's pregnant, Katrina's going to the temple to try to get pregnant, Katrina's struggling, blah, blah, blah. All these rumors that follow newly married couples. But at the Hot Chai Pod, pregnancy speculation is a very big no-no, in my opinion, unless there's some real evidence. And I will say, people were really starting to speculate last week about this. And I was tempted to bring it up because I saw some behind the scenes footage of some ad that Katrina was shooting, and she did look super pregnant. So I was like, is this real? But there's always a chance now that it could be AI. So luckily, Vicky and Katrina did a joint post on Instagram basically saying, you know, the baby is on the way. Has this baby already arrived? And the reason I think people on Reddit, etc., are talking is because in the pregnancy photo announcement, Katrina looks quite pregnant and Vicky Kaushal has a beard. And so he hasn't had a beard, I think, since July. He's been just kind of wearing this mustache look for Love and War and filming. So I don't know about the timelines. And then I was seeing news today that she already had the baby, but we won't know until we see a more official announcement. But it does make sense that they waited till the last minute because you know what? Anything can really go wrong. So yeah, again, congrats. They are one of my favorite Bollywood couples for sure. So speaking of actors that I like, Laksh, he was in the movie Kill. If you guys remember, we reviewed it here. Action film, very violent. He is the lead hero of Aryan Khan. Yes, that Aryan Khan's directorial debut called The Bads of Bollywood, which is streaming on Netflix now. It's a mini web series, I would say. 7 episodes, and I have to say I was shocked that I liked it. I had seen the trailer. It didn't really give away much of what it was, except kind of a play on, you know, the industry dynamics, and it looked like a comedy with some action. And it turned out to be all of that. It's a very meta look at Bollywood, right? And it's kind of like a parody of sorts, like kind of laughing at itself and some of the inner workings. And yes, you have to be a big Bollywood fan to appreciate it, I would say, because there's a lot of like inside jokes and like throwback references and cameos. And I guess all of that is to say, yeah, people are saying it's like silly, it's brain rot, but I think that there is a time and place for that. I don't think that a young director's debut film needs to be the most serious work of art. I actually think this was a perfect kind of vehicle for Aryan Khan. You know, he's listed as the writer and director of this, or rather the creator of this show, which I could believe because they do say you should write what you know. So what does Aryan Khan know? I would assume he knows Bollywood. I'm sure Aryan Khan has had, you know, a whole writer's room and like really strong talent guiding him. I'm sure his mom as a producer was very involved in this process, but it doesn't take away that this is actually a cool project. And regardless of him being a Nepo kid, I think we can appreciate the show for what it is, which is just entertainment. Now, I think he was brilliant to cast Laksh as the main hero. He's very like quintessential hero looking with a deep voice and the good looks.
And that is good looks, and good looks.
And then he cast Raghav Juyal as kind of like the second hero. Raghav Juyal and Laksh were together in Kill, and this is such a crazy 180 of a dynamic that they get to have on screen, which is like funny and bantering and cute. And there it was all like violence, right? So really cool change up, and Raghav is hilarious in the film. So 10 out of 10 casting. And I'll go even the extra mile to say it was very smart of him to cast outsiders, right? So that it didn't look like a giant Nepo project, because one, it didn't garner the same kind of like hatred that it normally would if he had put Ibrahim Ali Khan as like the main star. And by the way, yes, he has a cameo, and I'm still like, why are you even here? And two, I think it just made the show better because they had actual good actors in their roles. However, it was still very much fiction because Bobby Dale is playing like the biggest star in Bollywood. So Bobby Dale is a main character in this series. I don't know that I would say he's the only one who could have played this role, but he did a good job. I know, it sounds like I'm doing like a glowing review of the show, but I just have to say, like, I was highly, highly entertained. And that's all I can really ask for from a show like this. So I give it a 4 out of 5 cups of chai. I think go check it out if you're a Bollywood fan, which you obviously are if you're watching the Hot Chai Pod. Unfortunately, we still have a host of untalented Nepos to address, and that is primarily Janhvi Kapoor. Now, we're a little bit late with this, but I did see her movie Param Sundari with Sid Malhotra in theaters, actually. And this might be the most shocking of all. It was not horrible. It was not unwatchable. You know, she had another movie, Ulaj, which I did speak about here, and she was pretty much the worst part of that movie. Or Param Sundari, where she's playing this like Malayali girl and Sid Malhotra is a typical like North Indian Delhi boy. There are a lot of tropes. It's kind of embarrassing. They have Janhvi climbing up a coconut tree to get cell service. Like, it's a little bit rude at this point. I think the writers should know better. But overall, I didn't mind the story. Like, it was a good one-time watch. It was a fluffy rom-com. Sid and Janhvi, both not known for their acting chops. And Janhvi, you know, she was not so horrible in this movie. And I would say Sid, same for him. He's lovable enough. She's pretty enough. It kind of works. They do have some sort of chemistry at points in the film. It's my opinion! A little bit of chai. Speaking of their chemistry, so we all know when stars are doing like their promotion, sometimes they like play up the relationship between the hero and the heroine, and they want to get people talking. They want rumors to spread to build up press for the film. For Janhvi and Sid, though, there was a ton of promotion, and for no good reason, because this movie ended up being a flop at the box office, barely recovering its budget of around 50 crores, I think. So while Sid and Janhvi are kind of out promoting this movie, there's a little bit of inappropriateness. Sid is like feeding her a candy, and then afterwards he like licks his fingers, or he's a little bit like touchy. He keeps touching her on the waist and stuff. And I just don't know if all of that is required to do a movie promotion, because I don't see everybody do that. And so, you know, rumor mill, or people also want to get really angry and say, well, Sid's a father, he would never. That never stopped anyone before.
So for 3 years. Wait, excuse me? Did you just say let's talk about the husband?
It's not.
And speaking of promotions, Janhvi's out promoting her new movie opposite Varun Dhawan, Sunny Sanskari Ki Tulsi Kumari. I'm pretty sure this is a Dharma film by the name of it. And Sanya Malhotra is also in it, and Rohit Saraf, who you may know from Mismatched, a show you guys know that I love. Watch it if you haven't. And people were kind of getting outraged seeing a lot of the promo clips or the songs that are coming out because, and I will say the same thing for Param Sundari. Janhvi Kapoor, she's like an okay dancer, but she's also a bad dancer. I don't know how to put it. She's not horrible. She hasn't like ruined songs like, let's say, Ananya Pandey has. But I feel like her expressions are always super exaggerated. Her movements are very stiff. I feel like it takes her a lot to like move her hips or something. And it's a little bit repetitive. It's always just like her in a sari, her showing her stomach, and that's supposed to just kind of be it. And I'll give credit to Varun Dhawan here because he actually is a strong dancer, and I've actually always said that. I find him to be a natural dancer, even if I don't know if he's always suited for the main hero material. And I guess many people agree because online, a lot of the chatter is that Sanya Malhotra should not be playing second fiddle to Janhvi Kapoor, and I could not agree more. She was great in Mrs. She's been great in other movies that I've watched. And also, she's actually an amazing dancer. If you've seen her kind of practicing videos or if you've watched her music videos, she's a very talented dancer. So people were confused when one of the songs came out for this Sunny Sanskari film, and Sanya's kind of dancing very like calmly subdued, and the focus of the camera is on Janhvi. On one hand, you could argue this is Janhvi's film, so you know, the focus is going to be there. But on the other, conspiracies were adrift that maybe people had asked Sanya to tone her dancing down a little bit to not overshadow Janhvi. Wasn't sure what to make of it. That sounded pretty likely because Rohit Saraf, the other actor, is dancing strongly, but so is Varun Dhawan. So it's not as stark of a contrast. I think the whole cast had a Garba event in Gujarat today. You can see Sanya Malhotra is really getting the moves of this song. She's in it. She knows the timing. She has the right expression. And Janhvi is kind of just standing there a little bit lifeless. And so I was like, I think the rumors are true. And they probably did tell her, like, chill a little bit and make Janhvi look better. I wouldn't be surprised. After all, this is a Dharma film. And potentially one more piece of news about Janhvi, and then I swear I'm done. Dostana 2, there's been a re-announcement of it today from Vikrant Massey, basically saying the film is back on, and it's with him as the hero to replace originally what was Karthik Aryan, who had then dropped out of the film and then had all that drama with Karan Johar, and then Laksh on the other side, who was the original hero cast. And Vikrant Massey was saying he won't say who the female lead is. He's going to leave that reveal for later, and it's going to be a big news. But originally, Janhvi Kapoor was in this cast with Karthik Aryan. So fingers crossed it's actually not going to be her. I hate to sound a little bit mean, but it's something to do with overexposure. I feel like we are seeing the same faces everywhere. And then if you're not really performing at the level, I'm not super sure that you should continue to be rewarded. But that does not give the film permission to cast Shania Kapoor or Sara Ali Khan, or even Ananya Pandey, who has her own movie with Laksh that's, I think, currently filming called Chand Mera Dil, which I'll probably watch because, again, I like a rom-com and I like Laksh. The bigger question, which is, why are we doing these sequels? What does this mean? We have this Dostana 2. I saw announcements today for Crew 2 with Kareena Kapoor and Tabu and Kriti Sanon possibly being greenlit again. And Cocktail 2 with Shahid Kapoor, Kriti Sanon, and Rashmika Mandanna is currently filming. What does this mean when it's like a 2? Is it the same story, like remixed, and now we have different actors, but we know how it's going to end? I don't know if I approve of it. I get that the filmmakers want to capitalize off of franchise name, but it's not a franchise. Just make it a new film, make it fresh. People might actually be more excited. I'm actually curious what you guys think. Please let me know in the comments if you are more likely to watch a film if it's a sequel or if it's an original in the case of Cocktail, Dostana, Crew, and whatever else you might think of. And speaking of casting dramas, before we get to our fashion polls, a big story that was going around was obviously that Deepika Padukone has left the film Kalki, the sequel of it rather. So she was in the first film, and I guess for the second film, she had signed on and maybe has now left. So the makers quickly went out and put a statement out. She was basically being difficult and they can't accommodate these new schedules and stuff. Very much reminiscent of what happened with Spirit and Sandeep Reddy Venga trying to get ahead of this story. And people are like, oh, Deepika can't carry a film. She, is asking for too much. She shouldn't have these set hours. Same kind of conversation that came up when this whole Spirit debacle happened. And a lot of actors, including Ajay Devgan and other, industry bigwigs, actually spoke in Deepika's favor, saying there should be limits on set and she should have as much respect as an actor. Akshay Kumar, for instance, has a set work schedule. And I guess in the first installment of Kalki, when she was filming, she would just be kind of idle on set all day. So maybe that's why she wanted to stick to a tighter schedule so she's not kind of wasting her time, which makes sense. It's also rumored that she raised her fees to be too high, but what does too high mean? Negotiate, ask for what you want. If people can't give it, then don't take it. The same rumor happened for Ranveer Singh when he was shooting in the South, is that she has too large of demands for an entourage and for people to feed her staff and whatever, and she should be feeding her own staff. I don't know about all those details. I know I sound very skeptical, and the reason is because I've actually never heard of these kind of rumors for any movie that she's done in Bollywood, and it's been such a long time that she's been in the profession, in the business, and these are all very new allegations, is that she's some diva, Ranveer Singh some diva. It kind of feels like, there's some underhanded story planting and kind of image shaping that's happening from other people. And the reason I say that is because people are like, oh, now she's a mom, she's demanding the world, take a step back from acting, which is completely ridiculous because then you see other stories where Alia Bhatt, her dad, Mahesh Bhatt, was giving an interview and saying when Alia is filming, there's a whole separate vanity van just for Raha and Raha's staff and Raha's whatever. And you can go and visit Raha separately than Alia's van. So I don't think it's that shocking for actresses who are working parents to be able to make these, requests, and the producers can or cannot accept them based on if they think they add enough value to the film or if they can afford it. For our teacup time today, we have quite a bit of fashion brought to you by Milan Fashion Week, these movie premieres, these show premieres, whatever's happening. So let's get into it. First up, making some waves this week is Alia in Gucci at Gucci's show in Milan. Now, this was a little bit of a controversial look. She has the trademark kind of Gucci makeup, which is very dark eyes, but she does have this very severe straight hair. She said that she was going for an Addams Family or Cher vibe. So, she hit that out of the park. She's wearing a big furry black jacket and then Gucci logo tights with a little slip dress under. Actually, I quite liked this outfit. I don't like to say that it didn't suit her, but I don't know that the makeup was super flattering or suitable for Alia's look. I actually think in a lot of her recent looks, her hair and makeup is kind of bringing down the whole styling of the look. I think that she does better with a little bit of color, again, on her lips, on her cheeks.
We used to go out at night, he's like, wipe that off. Wipe that off, because he loves the natural.
So 65% of you said that she is a fashion victim and you guys were not into it. Again, I actually quite like the look, but maybe it just didn't translate. And actually another example of a look kind of not translating from the original, in this case, a vintage Tom Ford that was worn by Kate Moss, is on Alia here at this premiere of The Bads of Bollywood with Ranbir. So Alia's wearing this very chic dress, and yet it's kind of a case of the dress maybe wearing her. We have father-to-be Vicky Kaushal in his very dapper look, and most of you agree that he is looking quite nice in this ensemble. I wasn't super sure about the jacket, but it works. And I have to say, between how Ranbir's looking and how Vicky's looking with the mustache, I hope in Love and War, Alia's character ends up with Vicky. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion.
And that is good looks, and good looks.
And to tie in this whole episode, we have Raghav Juyal at the premiere of The Bads of Bollywood. Very much deserved actor. Finally glad he's getting some recognition. You guys thought he was overdressed in his tuxedo outfit, but my question is, can you really be overdressed? Was he too formal? You guys let me know. And that's all we got for today. If you guys liked this episode, please press like below and share with your friends. And I'll be back soon with some more tea and reviews. Bye.
Listen up, it's jazz.